cosmos erupted into existence 13.8 billion years ago, some believe, as shown by a faint afterglow in the sky. Amazingly, we can still see that light, yet despite extensive space study and exploration efforts, the universe riddle still eludes us. Keep your head up, because not only is space replete with enigmatic things, but they also may abruptly infiltrate the Earth's atmosphere with even the artificial objects we've launched into space. Here are the terrifying things that fell from the sky. Airplane parts. These neighborhoods would be crowded with families taking part in outdoor activities on a typical Saturday. Rather, they were packed with pieces of an airplane. A recent emergency landing in Denver by a Boeing 777 bound for Hawaii resulted in the release of aircraft debris around the area. This was something that long-time Denver locals had never seen before. Hundreds of people gathered in the area where jet wreckage fell nearby, and bits littered the region after it damaged their lawns and properties. A number of vehicles as well as 2 residences were damaged. Emergency personnel such as police, ambulance and fire crews flocked to the area in a flash. The booms were replaced by sirens and lights, and people were rushing everywhere. The jet in issue, according to a flight mapping system, flew in a circle returning to the starting position. The pilot of the aircraft requests that the location turn promptly in the Mayday call. Fortunately, the Federal Aviation Authority said that after encountering a right engine failure after takeoff, the jet returned to Denver International Airport and landed safely. Red Sprites. Except for those who study the skies, such as meteorologists, nature photographers and other astronomers, sprites are not very widely recognized. Despite not being particularly uncommon, they are short-lived. They are difficult to photograph. Lightning electrical discharges like these sprites occur at great altitudes in Earth's atmosphere. Despite being connected to thunderstorms, they do not originate from the same clouds that bring us rain. The troposphere, a layer of Earth's atmosphere that rises between 4 and 12 miles above sea level, is where thunderstorms come from. These kinds of sprites are common in the mesosphere, 50 miles above the Earth's surface. Sprites may be around 30 miles large, but when you're on Earth's surface and you notice one, it looks to be rather little. The charge exchange might take place above as opposed to between the charged clouds and the ground. Instead, a negatively charged layer above the clouds produces an upward red light flare. Although it may appear sinister, this phenomenon is equally fascinating and wonderful. Since at least the 1700s, people have reported seeing those sprites, who got their enigmatic moniker from being so hard to find. Although it took scientists 2.5 centuries to capture the elusive red sprites on camera, meteorologists and nature photographers regarded them as legendary. Giant hailstones. During a rainstorm, the sound of tapping on your windows is an unmistakable, not-so-subtle message from nature that it may quickly ruin your day. Recent hail in Spain was so severe that 1 person perished. Local officials have verified that during a severe storm in the Catalonia area, up to 50 people were hurt after being struck by large hail. The severe hailstorm, which the locals refer to as 10 minutes of terror, suddenly struck the town with unnaturally enormous hailstones up to 5 inches across, sending residents running for safety. A supercooled water droplet can freeze onto a condensation nucleus such as dust or dirt that has been lofted into the storm, rather than condensing into a raindrop and falling to the earth. As they move through the thunderstorm, hailstones pick up water on their surface and bounce about in the wind. The hailstone expands when water gathers on its surface and freezes, forming ice and creating layers that resemble an onion. When hail is too heavy for the updraft to hold it aloft in the air, it falls to earth. So it must have been a major storm for Spain to have the biggest hailstones in 20 years. Fallen catfish. The 4.5-pound catfish that smacked a woman in the face in Philadelphia caused injuries. When the event occurred, she was en route to a fitness class. She was able to stand up and go after screaming and falling on the ground. "We were simply talking while we walked. I was really happy to be going to boot camp," she said tangentially. She instantly added, "I saw a giant black object going towards my head, then it smacked me." The aftermath was seen on tape by a buddy who said, "I dropped to the ground. My companion was trying to figure out what had occurred." In an event to find out what was happening, one onlooker stopped her car and gave the woman water. Lowry was smacked by the fish hard enough to cause swelling all over her face and a minor gash on her cheek. She told the press, "I literally showered for 30 minutes and the worst part was the fishy smell that lingered." It's believed that the catfish, which tipped the scales at more than the weight of 2 bags of sugar, was dropped by a bird of prey who'd been soaring overhead at the time we walked home. She calculates that the fish weighed around 5 pounds and was about 18 inches long. She obviously did not attend the workout that morning. Suspicious lights. The word strange may not adequately characterize these lights above California. In fact, if there was ever a video that shouted UFO, this could be it. The US government just made recordings available that depict UFO sightings with US Navy pilots. After the tapes were made public, information about a top-secret program that had been examining different military encounters with unidentified aerial aircraft in covert briefings for over 10 years came to light. Therefore, if you're speaking about such unsettling celestial objects, it's safe to assume that some people on Earth are speaking of similarly bizarre phenomena over our heads. A panel of scientists who conducted the first independent review of UFO phenomena since 1970 came to the conclusion that some sightings are accompanied by physical evidence that warrants scientific investigation. But they were not persuaded that any of this evidence points to the involvement of extraterrestrial intelligence. Do you need more evidence to change your mind? Although there have been UFO claims for a long time, there is still no evidence to support the existence of extraterrestrial technologies. Anyone would assume differently after seeing footage like this. Space debris. The Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, also known as SpaceX, is an American company that produces satellites, conducts space launches, and manufactures spacecraft. It's based in Hawthorne, California, and most recently SpaceX announced that 40 satellites re-entered our Earth's atmosphere when they weren't meant to, despite its best attempts. In contrast to a natural meteor, an intriguing incident that looks to be linked is captured on camera by observers of Puerto Rico's skies. Re-entering satellites leave streaks behind them and appear more like a group of bright dots traveling in the same direction. You could notice a burst of light when a piece of fake debris vaporizes among those streaks. Geomagnetic storms, which are perturbations in the Earth's magnetic field brought on by activity on the Sun, ultimately destroyed the SpaceX satellites that were put into low Earth orbit. According to early investigation, the satellites were unable to undertake orbit-raising operations after exiting safe mode because of the increased drag at low altitudes. As a result, up to 40 of the satellites will re-enter or have already done so. This video shows an object breaking apart with distinct fragmentation, which is typical of space debris. Holy water. Through an open door of an aircraft, liters of the blessing holy water were dumped into a Russian city. Recently, the action was taken as part of the city's campaign to combat drinking in what is considered to be an immoral manner. A priest recited a prayer service as he released the holy water. The priest really boards the aircraft every year in an effort to encourage sobriety in the nation, and of course they have him secured into a harness to prevent him from unintentionally falling from the aircraft. In some Christian denominations, holy water is water that has been blessed by a clergyman and is used during baptism as well as to bless people's homes, churches and devotional objects. Water has been employed by religious peoples as a way of eradicating uncleanliness, either ritual or moral, because it is a natural symbol of purification. So in order to rescue lives, this worried priest used the air to airbomb a city with holy water. The anecdote has amused many, but the priest insisted that there is nothing funny about it. Even the 19th century endless chalice or beautiful cup that the Orthodox Church says may help those with addiction disorders was present with this heavenly company. Bangkok Fireball. The moment a massive fireball of green and orange light burst out of nowhere before falling is captured in this amazing video from Thailand. The fireball was enormous, and just before it impacted the earth and exploded, it generated a burst of dazzling white light. The unusual occurrence was caught on a dash cam and showed the fireball falling at a fast rate of speed at around 8:45 a.m. local time. Following the incident, several individuals took to social media and posted their own footage of the fireball. What's going on? It was definitely a meteor, according to the National Astronomical Research Institute of Thailand. It is both common and quite uncommon. What is frequently referred to as a shooting star is really space rock, which is crashing into the atmosphere at an incredible speed of 37 miles per second and exploding in a burst of light. Like what you're witnessing now, considerably greater hits with larger amounts of debris are occasionally seen on video. However, not everyone who saw the amazing sight has been as thrilled as the others, and some have even stated that the huge fireball is a bad omen. However, it might be fair to think it could be a good omen as well. Metal Spaceballs. Residents throughout the world have reported seeing enormous metal balls falling from the sky, which has left them perplexed and terrified. Within weeks of one another, people in Britain, Russia, Brazil and even Africa reported seeing fireballs crash into their communities. They've been referred to as everything from doomsday machines to weather balloon equipment to evidence of alien life. This meadow's worry is understandable. In several instances, villagers reported hearing explosions. The collision on the ground or the sonic boom as the metal spaceballs defied gravity and descended to Earth might be to blame. They were also large. Each ball weighed roughly 88 pounds. From where did they originate? Officials have confirmed that the metal spheres were part of a space rocket that had just re-entered the atmosphere of Earth. They've now been determined to be tanks from unmanned rockets, which are frequently used to launch satellites. They're used to store tank pressure gases or reaction control system propellant. People shouldn't be concerned because they frequently represent the rocket's only remaining components. Authorities have told the public that while unlikely, getting struck by one of them was still a possibility. Frozen lizards. The biggest lizards in the Americas are iguanas. These exceptionally adaptable creatures may be found in a number of habitats, including aquatic regions, dry deserts and tropical woods. However, these lizards have lately been exposed to some exceptionally cold temperatures in the southern United States, notably Florida. Once the temperature falls to about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, iguanas are vulnerable to freezing. Additionally, these cold-blooded animals lose their hold on the trees they live in where they become too cold. It implies that if they trip and fall, iguanas may start to rain on them. It got so terrible that the US National Weather Service warned not to be shocked if you witness iguanas falling from trees tonight when lows drop into the 30s and 40s regarding the falling reptiles. Iguanas essentially shut down in the cold, making it impossible for them to hang on to the trees. There is nothing unusual about seeing lizards appear to descend from the sky. Here, as temperatures drop, a lot of people are accustomed to witnessing reptiles fall from trees, yet they're still alive. Unbelievably, most people can resume their normal lives even though they first appear to be as dead as a doornail when it warms up. Before moving to number 1 on this list, take a look at this image. Nobody knows what this object is. Is a meteorite really able to be that incredibly spherical? There is a geological phenomenon that lies behind unusually rounded rocks. When silt that hasn't yet formed into a rock gathers around a hard nucleus and comes into contact with a cementing mineral, concretion takes place. The sand layers are then banded together around the core by a natural concrete that frequently takes the shape of a sphere in the area between sediment particle layers. Can they be produced in outer space, just off the horizon? This picture has a lot of information. Skylab. The first NASA-launched American space station, known as Skylab, was staffed for around 24 weeks between 1973 and 1974. Numerous experiments that couldn't be reboosted by the space shuttle, which wouldn't be ready until 1981, as well as an orbiting workshop and a solar observatory Earth observation, were among the primary tasks. In the end, Skylab's orbit degraded, and on July 11, 1979, it broke apart in the atmosphere, dispersing pieces of debris over the Indian Ocean in Western Australia. The 9-story tall 77.5-ton Skylab spacecraft was designed to enter Earth's upper atmosphere before exploding into blazing metal. It was anticipated that 10 shards, each weighing at least 1,000 pounds, would collide with Earth. The force of a dying meteor traveling at up to 270 miles per hour, and even though the falling parts were meant to crash in the ocean, they instead fell on the Australian town of Esperance. Approximately 8,000 man-made objects larger than baseballs are in orbit around the planet. 7% of them are operational satellites, 15% are rockets, and the other ones are satellite fragments and dead ones. Although 8,000 may seem like a lot, falling space debris has never yet killed a human. As you can see, the sky does indeed fall from time to time, but fear not, it's doubtful that you'll ever be struck by falling space debris or knocked unconscious by iguanas. So we hope you like and follow our channel. After this, more excellent videos will be shown.